how it is described in philosophy or philosophical text, I agree with you. The way that you use the term is consistent with the philosophical text. I've been trying to say this the entire time. I disagree with the text.
Okay, you're saying the text is wrong, though.
Yes, it's wrong.
By what measurement is it wrong? If you wrote a paper, a dissenting paper, listen to me carefully here. If you say something's wrong, I need evidence that shows me wrong, not just your opinion that I'm wrong.
To convince you.
No, look at, if you tell me that evolution doesn't mean a change of allelic frequency, I'm going to ask you for evidence. If you don't have that evidence, I'm going to dismiss your claim by Hitchens' razor right off the bat. I'm presenting evidence here. I haven't seen a single paper from you that you presented. I've never seen a single bit of evidence. Do you have any citation, any evidence, any paper that have you read that you can present that is anything I've said makes what I said incorrect?
So when you bring up evolution, there's the argument of whether evolution is true or not, and there's the argument of whether evolution is the word to be used to describe what you're talking about. That's two different things. I'm
not asking you if evolution is true or not. I'm saying that
using bad analogies.
Those are not bad analogies.
Yes, it is.
Almost ubiquitously, the word evolution is best understood to infer a change of allelic frequency in one population to the next population of species in a given species, or excuse me, the change of allelic frequency in a given species from one population to the next population over time, from one generation to another generation. That's how it's best understood. You're telling me that would be wrong.
What do you mean?
In analogy.
In the analogy.
Okay, so what I'm telling you that atheism is what it is in how it's best understood in philosophy, not absolute, but best understood. You're telling me that is the way that I'm using these terms is wrong.
Because it's more confusing.
That's not a wrong or right. That is just an evaluation based on your opinion, subjective opinion. That doesn't make it right or wrong.
But okay,
wrong or wrong is a value judgment.
Is the definition of a word or how we use the word an opinion or fact?
Well, okay. First of all, if I say here's a word. Here's a definition. It is a fact that it's using this definition for this word. But again, this word is not prescribed to mean
I understand that, but we're talking about the usages of the word.
Okay, so in philosophy,
an improper way of using a word.
What? I don't think you're getting this.
Is there a proper or improper way to use a word?
There's a best understood.
A best understood. So
yeah.
Okay, fine. I will go with best understood and least understood.
Okay.
My way of using the word better understands the concept than your way of using the word. When I use the word atheism to mean lack of belief in a God, it's more understandable than using the word to only mean I believe no God exists.
All right, so let's take that. Okay, let's move into a little bit some other stuff. How much time? What do we have on time, James?
Let's see. I think if we go until about 1:45, we've got 30 minutes from 35 minutes from right now, and so if we want to transition into do you think that we've already talked about how these words should be used, or is that what you want to transition?
Yeah. Well, I want to get into the problems with using his vernacular, right? Because I believe that we should all try to have a coherent framework, and there's some epistemic issues the way he's using them. I think those are important. But I will end it on this: that because the accepted way to understand, the most accepted way to understand atheism as the belief that God doesn't exist, that makes a person who doesn't accept there's no God a weak theist, which would be a theist. And it's the same. And I want to clarify this, especially for the people out there, about why I think his terminology is just doesn't make any sense to me. Because if you accept that you're a weak theist and you call that atheist, then you have to accept that a weak theist would be a theist. So you have a theist who doesn't believe in a God, which makes kind of weird, and you have an atheist who doesn't believe that God doesn't exist, which is, again, kind of weird in philosophy, right? If a philosophy theist is somebody who believes there's a God, and an atheist is somebody who believes there's not a God, if you're a weak theist, you have a theist now who doesn't believe there's a God, and you have a weak atheist who is just atheist who doesn't believe there's not a God. That's some of the problems. But let's get into your issues here. Do you know what a theological non-cognitivist is?
No, I don't think I need to in this discussion.
Well, if you want to talk about, you have, again, my argument from the very beginning, and I stipulated this, if you use your terminology, you have to accept the baggage that comes along with it. So here's some of your baggage. A theological non-cognitivist is somebody who thinks the propositions are not propositions, that the whole God talk is meaningless. Okay, it's called a non-cognitivist position.
And that's not me.
I'm not. Did I say it was?
I didn't say that you said that I was.
I'm not inferring that it's you. But a theological non-cognitivist holds to the epistemic position that the entire talk is meaningless and that there is no proposition to be even had. So the God exists is not a proposition. We call that a non-cognitivist position. Atheism, even by your definitions, is a cognitivist position, meaning that you can express it propositionally as not believing the proposition. Would you agree with that?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Theological cognitivists do not believe in God. If you assign them to be an atheist, you have a category error, because now you have a non-cognitivist position being under a cognitivist position. That is a contradiction. Do you see that?
Yeah. Okay, explain to me what the first part is. The cognitive whatchamacallit. And when I say that, I mean I want you to be extremely clear about what that person is. A person who does not believe that the proposition exists.
Even well, no, they don't believe the proposition states a proposition. They don't think that it actually represents anything. It's a meaningless statement.
Ridiculous.
We're not evaluating whether the position is sensical or not. In morality, we have the same thing. They're called a moral non-cognitivist, an emotivist, a prescriptionist. These are all positions of.
And it doesn't matter if they believe that the proposition is real or not real or meaningless or meaningful. That has nothing to do with me. That's what they claim. I'm
telling you the error that you're having here. You're having a category error by using your definitions. How do you resolve that?
What's the error?
You have a non-cognitivist position that you're labeling as a cognitivist one.
No, I don't have a non-cognitivist position.
Oh, my God. Not you specifically. Okay, we're talking in generality here. There exists a theological non-cognitivist position. That means that the proposition is not an actual proposition. They hold a non-cognitivist point of view. If you're talking about morality, the analogy would be somebody who doesn't think that the proposition stealing is wrong is actually a proposition. A moral realist would say that is a proposition and it's true or false. It's truth
right,
apt.
and I would say that they're wrong.
I'm not asking you if it's right or wrong here. I'm telling you the difference between a cognitivist position and a non-cognitivist position. Okay, so a moral non-cognitivist says that the stealing is wrong is not a proposition at all. An emotivist would say boo on stealing. Okay, boo on stealing is not truth apt. It's not true or false.
It's a ridiculous position, though.
I'm not asking if your opinion if it's a ridiculous position or not. I'm telling you the position exists.
I understand what you're saying, that they have that position. But if their position is sensical, then what does it have to do with our conversation?
But the Duke, I think he's going there. It's just you got to let him have a little more time to give it.
Okay. I'll let him talk.
All right, so prescriptionist, these are all positions. You can go look them up. A prescriptionist says stealing is wrong is not a proposition. It just means don't steal. Atheism is a cognitivist position because it could be related in terms of proposition. You agree that the proposition God exists is a proposition, right?
Yes.
If you don't believe that, that is cognitive.
I don't believe that God exists.
Right, so that's a cognitivist position because you're saying the proposition is a proposition you're evaluating or attempting to. You're just saying a no position on it. You're saying that I don't believe it.
I agree with you.
Okay, so atheism, you agree, is a cognitive position, correct?
Yes.
Not theological non-cognitivism is a non-cognitive position, right?
And that means
that the proposition is not a proposition.
And I disagree with that. It is a proposition.
I don't care whether you agree or not with it. I'm trying to explain to you these two different propositions.
I know what you're saying. And what I'm saying is it's so ridiculous and whatever that it doesn't matter to what we're talking about. I don't have a categorical problem.
Let me try to make it very simple when we get to Q&A because I think you're getting lost here, Duke, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm not getting lost.
Let me wrap this up if I can, James.
We'll try to give let's give Steve like one last shot at trying to explain.
Yeah, I really want people to understand.
I understand what he's saying.
No, hold on. The Duke, Akim. Frankly, I'm still kind of grasping it, to be honest. And so I'm thinking that there might be some people in the audience, too, that might be trying to grasp it. I'm not trying to say you don't get it. So
here's the category error, okay? Theological cognitivist is a non-cognitivist position. There's no question about that. That's material fact, okay? It's a non-cognitivist position. Atheism is a cognitivist position, okay? So you have a non-cognitivist and you have a cognitivist. They're incompatible with each other. You cannot take a non-cognitivist position and shove it into atheism because atheism is cognitive position. This is like saying I'm a moral non-cognitivist. I hold to emotivism, but I'm also a moral realist. That is nonsensical, right? Because a moral realist will say that morality has moral facts that are objective, right? So if I say that I'm a moral cognitivist and I hold that morality is objective, right? I cannot be a moral non-cognitivist. It makes no sense. You're literally taking a non-cognitivist position and saying just because it lacks a belief You're evaluating their entire epistemic meaning of why they hold that position and just nullifying it for your own agenda, ignoring the fact that it's a huge category error to say that you have a non-cognitive position as a cognitive position. And I hope people in the audience understands that. If not, they can ask me later. But my goal is to get people to understand by using your terminology, you have to accept the fact you're running into a contradiction.
No, I'm not.
Well, you may think that, but unfortunately,
I think that, and
you're
I think
completely
that
wrong on that.
And you're bringing up a position that is like what you're saying is a non-cognitive position.
Kim, I want to give you a quick chance to give a rebuttal, and then we'll go into the Q&A. Okay.
Okay.
Just to let you guys know, because don't get me wrong, I hate cutting you guys off, but
that's fine.
So Kim, go ahead. Thanks for letting me cut in.
Let's be clear. I'm sorry. Where can I be? Because I'm raising my voice. Okay. So, all right, I'm back. I'm very sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
Okay. I would like to replace non-cognitive position with what it means. Instead of using that word, please tell me, use the exact same argument that you're making.
A person who doesn't think the propositions are even a proposition.
Do not believe that it's even a proposition, but it is.
That doesn't matter to them.
It does. I don't care about them.
You don't care about their positions. Oh, screw them. It doesn't matter what they believe. You're forcing your own beliefs on them. Okay.
What someone believes and what's a fact are two different things.
These are. Oh, well, wait a minute here.
All right.
What's a fact? Okay, now you're going into a whole different territory because a person doesn't have to accept that a proposition is cognitively meaningful. Okay. If I say ergo blurgo blopple, is that true or not? Do you accept that proposition as true or false? No, you can say that's a meaningless proposition.
No, I would say it's a meaningless word that no one assigns a meaning.
Because and that makes the proposition meaningless. You're non-cognitivist through that proposition.
We're talking about whether or not a God exists.
Oh my God,
Duke, you're killing analogies, me, dude.
You're killing me, man.
Just because I don't understand
this is not that complicated, man.
You don't understand what you're talking about, dude. And I'm trying to make
clearly it's me who doesn't understand this.
No, yes, it's you that don't understand. Just because.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you this.
Oh my God! No, it's tough.
Well, you're telling me that I understand. So let me ask you this: how is it that I don't understand this when 5 minutes ago you never had heard of theological cognitivism, and yet you're now?
Because when you explain it, it doesn't make sense. You've explained it to me. You said what it is, and what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter if someone is a cognitive or non-cognitive. Whether they believe the proposition exists or not. That doesn't matter when it comes to whether or not they're an atheist or a theist. What they believe has nothing to do with what's a fact.
All right, so 5 minutes ago you didn't know any of these terms, and now you're kind of lecturing me on them.
First of all, do I understand what you're talking about now? You say no.
I have no idea at this point.
So we should probably.
Oh, so the goal is okay. All right, I'm still here.
I'm just hoping that the audience who listens to this later on, they get what I'm saying. It's not that complicated.
And I hope that people that are listening to this understand that what he's saying doesn't make any sense. That's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about the proper usages of words.
The proper usages of words? By whose standard?
Is that because there's some other category of people that has something about not believing whether the proposition is true or not has any effect on whether or not they believe something or not believe something and what category they fit in. And what I'm trying to say is that's not true. A person who doesn't believe the proposition exists has no bearing on whether or not they are agnostic or an atheist.
All right, so before we get to Q&A, I have one other thing, James, because this is really awesome to me. Do you think atheism could be true or false?
No, I don't think atheism could be true or false.
Okay, do you think theism could be true or false?
No, I don't think atheism can be true or false.
And I'm done. I'm okay at Q&A because you're now arguing that ontologically is not true or false whether God exists.
My God, this is not a proposition. Again, this is what you do on Twitter all the time. You talk to others using the exact definitions of the word.
I hate to cut in, Kim. So I definitely appreciate that you guys are spirited. You guys have passion because there's nothing worse than a boring debate. And this has been a spirited conversation. So I appreciate you guys. I really do. And I think that a lot of people...
God bless you, James. God bless you. Love your channel, man.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I know that a lot of people get uncomfortable with debates when it gets a little bit more, like we use the word heated, but I don't know, you could just say passionate.
This was passionate.
It's like the good thing is...
This isn't full Twitter, Steve. Trust me. I get much worse.
The good thing is...
And I like Duke.
Like in the past, or even sometimes today, like these things aren't done in civil discourse or debate. They're done in violence. And so this is actually, like, I call it progress of humanity. Like, we're doing fine. So
yeah, and he kicked my ass. I'm not stupid.